Rio de Janeiro, which is the capital city of the state of Rio de Janeiro, is the second largest city of Brazil. Rio is a sprawling metropole with about 6 million inhabitants in an area of 1182.3 square kilometers. It is divided in 4 geographical zones. Centro, downtown, is a historic center of the city. There is a skyscraper under construction, the Edificio Operacional da Petrobras. The South Zone is composed of several districts, which compose Rio's famous Atlantic Beach coastline. There are many gated communities in this zone. The northern part of Rio. In this zone is located the International Airport of Rio de Janeiro and the Rio Sun Center, which is the highest skyscraper in Rio. It is a 50-story building. The west side. The biggest shopping mall of Latin America is located here. Rio used to be a paradise due to its beautiful women, ethnic diversity, and astonishing beaches. Just as many other major cities, Rio has expanded and it is currently a dangerous city which suffers overcrowding with the development of ghettos, poverty, slums, and poor sanitary infrastructure, among other major problems. Crime in Rio is going global, and caution is advised in all areas of the city. Most violent crimes occur in the North Zone and in hillside shantytowns, while more affluent and tourist areas in the South suffer mainly from petty crime. There are a bunch of computer hackers in Rio. 8 out of every 10 of the world hackers are from Brazil. Petty crime. Petty crime throughout Rio is a serious concern, and the number of incidents continue to be on the rise despite police efforts. Criminals are often armed with knives or guns. Foreigners and tourists should pay attention to where they walk, because a petty thief could pull a knife from them at any moment. Petty crimes such as pickpocketing and bag snatching are common. Thieves operate in outdoor markets, in hotels, and on public transport. Legal cabs are yellow with a blue stripe painted on the sides. Tourists should be careful not to get an illegal cab. You really take your life in your hands if you get an illegal cab. You should thank your lucky stars if you get out of one.
Carjacking. Carjacking and robberies of individuals in cars, which are very common in Rio, frequently occur at stoplights. Gunmen often place their guns to the glass to force the driver to roll down the windows. Wealthy-looking individuals who are stuck in traffic or at red lights, especially after dark, are particularly targeted. Kidnapping. Kidnapping for ransom is a relevant concern in the city. Brazilians who are wealthy are the primary targets. Most victims are taken when leaving work or home on workdays. Express kidnappings, in which criminals force the victim to withdraw money from several ATMs, are prevalent. With more than 100 cases reported each month, some victims have been killed after their bank accounts have been emptied. Police. The police department in Rio has had a reputation for corruption and violence for many years. The civil police, the militia, and the tourist police make up the 3 law enforcement branches in Rio. Rio's police forces are inadequately funded and are characterized by slow response times. In order to enforce police control, police officers will not hesitate to use firearms against criminals, who often shoot back, even though the streets might be filled with pedestrians. This situation poses a threat for visitors who could potentially be trapped in the crossfire. It's often recommended not to ask police officers for help. It is definitely better to fend for yourself. Even though security in Rio is not very good, the installation of security cameras has multiplied over the last few decades.
Drug trafficking. The drug lords and the slums or favelas are the tip of very old social problems. The favelas are areas of poor quality housing, slums usually located on the city's many mountain slopes with sanitary problems and no sewer. Rio now has about 800 favelas, containing more than 1 million people. Gangs and crime can be glimpsed especially within these poor neighborhoods. Drug lords dominate favelas in Rio, and their influence is spreading to the entire city. Poverty, corruption, inadequate law enforcement, lack of drug fighting equipment, and a weak judicial system all contribute to the booming drug business. Gang violence has been directed at police, security officials, and related facilities. Gangs have also attacked official buildings and satellite public buses. In November 2010, there was a huge security crisis in Rio de Janeiro when a series of attacks against civilian targets occurred. Dozens of motor vehicles were burned by orders of the city's main criminal factions that control drug trafficking at the region in response to the government's newest security policy. Since the late 1970s, deaths in favelas have skyrocketed. Drug gangs have become better organized and better armed. It is easy for street children to hook up with gangs. This is why more children have become involved at a younger age. Almost 3,000 people in Rio are shot dead each year. An estimated 11,000 young men are now involved in armed drug gangs in Rio, with about 50% under 18. Almost 4,000 under 18s were killed in Rio between 1988 and 2002, more than 8 times the combined number of Israeli and Palestinian children killed in the same period. For all this, in the last years, new security plans have been implemented to try to decrease crime rates in Rio, hoping that this situation will eventually come to an end.